a modern cinematic audiobook inspired by Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. Intro, the island where time moves differently. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a place where people wake up each morning with genuine excitement. Not because they have to, but because they want to. A place where 90-year-olds tend gardens before sunrise, where centenarians gather to laugh over tea, where the word retirement doesn't exist in the vocabulary. This place is real. It's a small island in Japan called Okinawa. And the people there have discovered something that the rest of the world is desperately searching for. They call it Ikigai. Your reason for being. Your reason to wake up. The invisible thread that connects your heart to the rhythm of life itself. But here's what makes this truly fascinating. Ikigai isn't some mystical secret locked away in ancient temples. It's not about wealth or status or achieving massive goals. It's something far more profound and far more accessible. It's about finding that one thing that makes you feel alive. That activity where time disappears. That moment when you forget to check your phone because what you're doing matters more than anything else. Over the next hour, we're going on a journey together. Not to Japan, but into the heart of what makes life worth living. We'll explore how ordinary people have discovered extraordinary purpose. How small daily actions create long, meaningful lives. How you can wake up tomorrow with more clarity, more energy, more reason to smile. This isn't just about living longer. It's about living better. It's about transforming the way you see your mornings, your work, your relationships, and your future. The people of Okinawa have been living this truth for generations. And today, their wisdom becomes yours. Let's begin. Section 1. The invisible force that keeps you alive. Think about the last time you lost track of time. Maybe you were cooking a meal, building something with your hands, playing with a child, or lost in a creative project. In that moment, you weren't thinking about your age. You weren't worried about tomorrow. You were simply alive. That's the feeling we're chasing. That's Ikigai. In the Western world, we've been taught to chase happiness like it's a destination. We think once we get the promotion, once we buy the house, once we retire with enough money, then we'll finally be happy. But the people who live longest and happiest have discovered something different. They've learned that purpose isn't something you find at the end of a journey. It's something you cultivate every single day. Scientists have studied the centenarians of Okinawa for decades, trying to unlock their secret. They expected to find special diets or genetic advantages. And yes, those things matter. But the real discovery was psychological. Every single person they interviewed had a reason to get out of bed. A garden to tend. A friend to visit. A skill to practice. A community that needed them. When you have Ikigai, your body responds differently. Your immune system strengthens. Your stress hormones balance. Your brain stays sharper longer. Purpose becomes medicine. Here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to discover your Ikigai. It's already inside you. You just need to uncover it. Let's move deeper. Section 2. The 4 invisible circles of meaning. Imagine 4 circles slowly coming together. Each one represents a different part of your life. And where they overlap in the center, that's where the magic happens. The first circle is what you love. The activities that make your heart race with excitement. The things you do even if nobody paid you. Even if nobody watched. The second circle is what you're good at. Your natural talents. The skills you've developed over time. The things people come to you for help with. The third circle is what the world needs. The problems you see around you. The pain you want to ease. The change you want to create. The fourth circle is what you can be rewarded for. Not necessarily money, though that helps. But recognition, gratitude, impact, exchange. Most people spend their entire lives living in just 1 or 2 circles. They do what they're good at but don't love it. Or they love something but never develop the skill. Or they chase money without caring if the world needs what they offer. But Ikigai lives in the center, where all 4 circles meet. A woman in Okinawa spends her mornings weaving traditional baskets. She loves the meditative rhythm of her hands. She's mastered the craft over 60 years. The village needs her baskets for ceremonies. And people pay her with vegetables and fish. That's Ikigai. Simple. Clear. Whole. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to start noticing where these circles might overlap for you. Even a little bit. This brings us to a powerful shift. Section 3. Why retirement is a dangerous illusion. Here's something most people don't realize until it's too late. The moment you stop having a reason to wake up, your body starts shutting down. In Western cultures, we celebrate retirement as the ultimate goal. Work hard for 40 years so you can finally relax and do nothing. But research shows a disturbing pattern. Many people who retire without purpose experience rapid health decline. Depression increases. Cognitive function drops. The body interprets lack of purpose as a signal that survival is no longer necessary. In Okinawa, there's no word for retirement. Elders don't stop contributing. They shift roles. The fisherman becomes the teacher. The farmer becomes the storyteller. The healer becomes the mentor. They understand something profound. You don't work to retire. You work because work gives life meaning. But here's the key distinction. We're not talking about soul-crushing jobs you hate. We're talking about purposeful activity. Flow. Contribution. Mattering. Your brain doesn't distinguish between paid work and meaningful activity. It only knows whether you feel needed. A 93-year-old man in Okinawa wakes at dawn to sweep the temple steps. Nobody asks him to. Nobody pays him. But he does it because the community gathers there. His action creates space for connection. That's his Ikigai. What if instead of counting down to retirement, you started building a life so meaningful you'd never want to retire from it? That changes everything. Let's explore how. Section 4. The morning ritual that rewires your brain. Every master of longevity has a morning ritual. Not because they read it in a book, but because their body taught them. When you wake up with purpose, your brain releases specific chemicals. Dopamine for motivation. Serotonin for contentment. Oxytocin for connection. These aren't just feel-good molecules. They're longevity molecules. The people of Okinawa don't rush their mornings. They don't check phones or dive into stress. They move slowly. Intentionally. They greet the sun. They stretch their bodies. They prepare tea with attention. They set an intention for the day. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. Modern neuroscience confirms what these elders knew instinctively. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start in chaos, your nervous system stays activated. If you start in calm, your body learns safety. Here's a simple framework. Before you do anything else, ask yourself one question. What is my reason to be awake today? Not your obligations. Not your to-do list. Your reason. The thing that genuinely matters to you. Maybe it's a project you're excited about. Maybe it's a person you'll see. Maybe it's a small act of creativity or service. When you anchor your morning in purpose, everything else flows differently. Tasks feel lighter. Challenges feel manageable. Time feels abundant. You're not just getting through the day. You're living it. This brings us to the heart of behavior change. Section 5. Small actions, giant ripples. Here's the truth most people miss. Transformation doesn't come from massive changes. It comes from tiny, consistent actions repeated over time. The centenarians of Okinawa don't exercise for 2 hours at a gym. They walk to a neighbor's house. They garden for 20 minutes. They stretch while waiting for water to boil. Movement is woven into life, not added on top of it. They don't follow strict diets. They eat until they're 80% full. They choose vegetables because they grow them. They share meals because community nourishes more than food alone. These aren't disciplined strategies. They're lifestyle designs. Western psychology has a concept called habit stacking. You attach a new behavior to an existing routine. The people of Okinawa have been doing this for centuries without naming it. After morning tea, tend the garden. After lunch, take a short walk. After dinner, practice calligraphy, or play music. Each small action builds on the last. Your brain loves patterns. It craves rhythm. When you create gentle routines around your Ikigai, you're not forcing yourself to change. You're allowing change to happen naturally. Imagine you love painting but never find time. Instead of waiting for a free weekend, what if you painted for 10 minutes every morning after coffee? In a year, that's 60 hours of creative expression. Not from discipline. From design. Small actions, repeated with love, create extraordinary lives. Let's move deeper into the science of this. Section 6. The Flow State's Secret. There's a state of mind where everything clicks. Where effort feels effortless. Where time disappears and you're completely absorbed in what you're doing. Psychologists call it flow. The people of Okinawa call it living. Flow happens when challenge meets skill. When the task is hard enough to engage you but not so hard it overwhelms you. When you care deeply about the outcome but aren't attached to perfection. A master potter in Okinawa enters flow every time she shapes clay. Her hands know exactly how much pressure to apply. Her mind is quiet. She's not thinking about technique. She is the technique. This is what Ikigai feels like in action. Not constant bliss, but deep absorption. Presence. Aliveness. Here's what modern neuroscience shows. When you're in flow, your brain enters a unique state. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-criticism and overthinking, quiets down. Your sense of time shifts. Your performance peaks. And afterward, you feel deeply satisfied. You can't force flow. But you can create conditions for it. Remove distractions. Choose activities that genuinely interest you. Set clear goals but stay flexible. Practice regularly so skill grows alongside challenge. Most people never experience flow because they never commit to anything long enough. They dabble. They multitask. They wait for inspiration instead of building the conditions that invite it. Your Ikigai lives in flow. Find the activities where you lose yourself, and you'll find yourself. This brings us to a powerful shift in identity. Section 7. You are what you do daily. Here's a question that might change your life. Who are you when nobody's watching? Not your job title. Not your social media persona. But your actual daily behaviors. Because those behaviors, repeated over time, become your identity. The people of Okinawa don't say they want to be healthy. They say they are gardeners. They are walkers. They are tea drinkers. They are community members. Their identity is built on action, not aspiration. This is the secret to lasting change. You don't change by setting goals. You change by becoming someone new. If you want to be a writer, you don't wait to feel inspired. You become someone who writes every morning. If you want to be fit, you become someone who moves their body daily. If you want to be kind, you become someone who performs small acts of kindness. Identity change is the deepest level of transformation. Because when you believe you are something, your brain naturally aligns your behaviors to match. No willpower required. A 78-year-old woman in Okinawa calls herself a dancer. She doesn't perform professionally. She dances alone in her home for 20 minutes each morning. But she is a dancer. And because of that identity, she never skips her practice. What identity would you love to claim? Not someday. Today. The bridge between who you are and who you want to be is built one small action at a time. Let's explore how to build that bridge. Section 8. The community you keep determines the life you live. Loneliness kills. Not metaphorically. Literally. Studies show that social isolation is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The people of Okinawa understand this in their bones. They have a tradition called moai. A social group formed in childhood that stays together for life. They meet regularly. Support each other. Celebrate together. Grieve together. Your moai is your chosen family. And the quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of these relationships. But here's what's fascinating. These relationships aren't just emotional support. They're behavioral mirrors. You unconsciously adopt the habits of the people you spend time with. Their energy becomes your energy. Their standards become your standards. If you surround yourself with people who complain, you'll complain more. If you surround yourself with people who create, you'll create more. If you surround yourself with people who have purpose, purpose becomes natural. This isn't about cutting people off. It's about intentionally building community around your values. Finding your tribe. Creating space for people who lift you higher. A man in Okinawa meets his moai every Tuesday evening. They drink tea, share stories, and discuss their projects. Each person has Ikigai, and together they reinforce it in each other. Who are the people in your life who remind you of who you want to be? Spend more time with them. And be that person for others. Let's move into the practical tools. Section 9. The art of staying curious like a child. Watch a child explore the world. Everything is fascinating. A leaf. A shadow. A puddle. They ask endless questions. They don't worry about looking foolish. They're pure curiosity. Then watch most adults. We stop asking questions. We assume we know how things work. We lose wonder. And with it, we lose a vital part of what keeps us mentally alive. The centenarians of Okinawa have retained something most adults lose. They stay curious. They learn new skills in their 80s. They ask questions in their 90s. They remain students of life until the very end. Curiosity is not a personality trait. It's a practice. A muscle you can strengthen. Every day, approach one ordinary thing as if you're seeing it for the first time. Your morning coffee. The way sunlight hits the wall. The expression on a stranger's face. Ask yourself, what am I not noticing? When you stay curious, your brain stays plastic. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, doesn't disappear with age. It weakens when you stop challenging it. A 92-year-old woman in Okinawa recently learned to use a smartphone. Not because she needed to. Because she was curious. That curiosity keeps her mind sharp. Her friends say she remembers more than people half her age. Your Ikigai thrives on curiosity. Because curiosity keeps you engaged. And engagement keeps you alive. Let's shift to a different kind of nourishment. Section 10. Eating as meditation, not obligation. Food is not just fuel. It's connection. Culture. Memory. Ritual. The people of Okinawa eat slowly. They savor. They pay attention. They stop when they're 80% full, a principle called hara hachibu. Not because they're dieting. Because they're listening. In Western cultures, we eat while scrolling, driving, working. We disconnect from the experience. Food becomes a transaction instead of a relationship. But when you eat with presence, something shifts. Your body digests better. You notice satisfaction sooner. You develop intuition about what nourishes you. This isn't about restriction. It's about awareness. A grandmother in Okinawa grows her own vegetables. She knows the soil they came from, the season they ripened, the hands that harvested them. When she eats, she's not just consuming nutrients. She's honoring life. You can bring this same quality to your meals. Even if you don't grow your food. Even if you're eating takeout. Slow down. Put away distractions. Taste what you're eating. Notice textures, colors, temperatures. When eating becomes meditation, meals become moments of peace. And those moments accumulate into years of better health. This brings us to the relationship between stress and longevity. Section 11. Stress is not the enemy, chronic stress is. Here's something surprising. The people of Okinawa experience stress. They face challenges. They lose loved ones. They struggle. But they don't carry stress like a permanent weight. They've learned something crucial. Acute stress is natural. Even beneficial. It sharpens focus. Builds resilience. Teaches adaptation. But chronic stress, the kind that never releases, destroys. The difference isn't what happens to you. It's how you process it. After a difficult moment, they have rituals. A walk in nature. A conversation with a friend. Time in the garden. Movement. These aren't luxuries. They're necessities. Your nervous system has two modes: sympathetic, which activates during stress, and parasympathetic, which activates during rest. Most modern people get stuck in sympathetic mode. Always on. Always alert. Always tense. The body isn't designed for that. Over time, chronic activation leads to inflammation, disease, and shortened lifespan. But you can train your nervous system to return to baseline. Through breath. Through movement. Through presence. A simple practice. When stress hits, pause. Take 5 slow breaths. Lengthen your exhale. Your body interprets a long exhale as a signal of safety. The nervous system shifts. Stress doesn't destroy you. Unprocessed stress does. Let's move into the power of contribution. Section 12. You live longer when someone needs you. Here's one of the most powerful findings from longevity research. People who feel needed live significantly longer than those who don't. Not needed in an exhausting, draining way. Needed in a purposeful, generous way. The elders of Okinawa aren't sitting alone in rooms watching time pass. They're teaching children, sharing stories, offering wisdom, tending communal spaces. They contribute. And contribution creates value. And value creates meaning. When you feel like your presence matters, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and strengthens your immune system. You don't need to save the world. You just need to matter to someone. Even in small ways. A man volunteers at a local school once a week. He reads stories to young children. It's 1 hour. But those children light up when they see him. He matters. And that mattering adds years to his life. Ask yourself, who needs what I have to offer? Not your job skills. Your presence. Your kindness. Your attention. Your experience. Purpose isn't self-focused. It's other-focused. When you shift from what can I get to what can I give, life opens up. This brings us to the practice of gratitude. Section 13. Gratitude as the foundation of contentment. Gratitude isn't just positive thinking. It's a neurological reset button. When you practice gratitude regularly, your brain literally rewires. The neural pathways associated with anxiety weaken. The pathways associated with contentment strengthen. The people of Okinawa don't wait for big moments to feel grateful. They notice small things. The warmth of morning sun. A shared laugh. A fresh meal. These micro moments of appreciation accumulate into a life of deep satisfaction. Here's what makes this powerful. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. And where your attention goes, your reality follows. Modern culture trains you to focus on lack. You don't have enough. You aren't enough. You need more. This endless striving creates suffering. But when you pause to notice what's already here, something miraculous happens. You realize you have enough. You are enough. The pressure releases. A woman in Okinawa keeps a gratitude journal. Every evening, she writes 3 things she appreciated that day. She's been doing this for 20 years. She says it's changed not just her mood, but her health. Science supports her experience. Gratitude reduces cortisol, improves sleep, and strengthens heart health. It's medicine without side effects. Try this. Before bed tonight, name 3 things you're grateful for. Not just in your mind. Out loud or written down. Do it every night for a month. Watch what shifts. Let's explore the balance between solitude and connection. Section 14. The power of purposeful solitude. Community matters. But so does solitude. The centenarians of Okinawa understand this balance. They spend time with others. But they also spend time alone. In gardens. In meditation. In quiet walks. They don't fear being alone. They treasure it. Solitude isn't loneliness. Loneliness is painful disconnection. Solitude is intentional rest. A return to yourself. In constant noise and stimulation, you lose touch with your inner voice. You forget what you actually want. You live on autopilot, reacting instead of creating. But in solitude, clarity emerges. You hear your intuition. You process emotions. You reconnect with your Ikigai. A man in Okinawa sits by the ocean every morning for 30 minutes. He doesn't meditate formally. He just sits, watches the waves, breathes. He says this time is where his best ideas come, where his stress dissolves, where he remembers who he is. Modern life glorifies busyness, but wisdom lives in stillness. Create space for solitude in your life. Even 10 minutes. Turn off devices. Sit with yourself. Let your mind wander. Don't force insights. Just be. The answers you're searching for don't come from more information. They come from more presence. This brings us to the relationship between movement and mind. Section 15. Your body is your mind's home. You cannot separate mental health from physical movement. They're interconnected. When your body stagnates, your mind stagnates. When your body flows, your mind flows. The people of Okinawa don't think of exercise as a separate activity. Movement is woven into everything. They walk instead of drive. They squat instead of sit. They garden, dance, and play. Their bodies stay strong not from gym memberships but from daily, natural movement. Here's what research shows. Regular movement increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This protein helps your brain form new neural connections. It's like fertilizer for your mind. Movement also regulates mood. It reduces anxiety and depression more effectively than many medications. Because your body and emotions are linked. Shift one, and the other follows. You don't need intense workouts. You need consistent, joyful movement. A 76-year-old woman in Okinawa dances alone in her kitchen while cooking. She moves her hips, sways her arms, smiles. This isn't exercise. It's expression. But it keeps her mobile, balanced, and happy. Find movement you love. Not punishment. Play. And do it often. Your body is the vehicle for your Ikigai. Care for it not out of vanity but out of respect. Let's move into the art of acceptance. Section 16. Accepting what you cannot change. One of the deepest sources of suffering is resistance. Fighting reality. Wishing things were different. Holding on to control you don't have. The people of Okinawa have faced typhoons, wars, poverty, and loss. They didn't escape hardship. They learned to accept it. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the fight against what already is. Saving your energy for what you can actually influence. There's a concept in Japanese culture called wabi-sabi. The acceptance of imperfection. The beauty in things that are impermanent, incomplete, and imperfect. A cracked bowl isn't ruined. It's unique. A weathered face isn't shameful. It's lived. A difficult chapter isn't a failure. It's part of the story. When you stop demanding that life match your expectations, you free enormous mental energy. Energy that can go toward creating, loving, and living. An elderly man in Okinawa lost his wife after 60 years of marriage. He grieved deeply. But he didn't resist the grief. He let it move through him. He cried with friends. He spoke her name. He accepted the pain as proof of love. Now, years later, he carries her memory with gratitude instead of bitterness. He says, I had 60 years with her. How lucky am I? What are you resisting in your life right now? What would shift if you stopped fighting and started accepting? This brings us to legacy. Section 17. The legacy you leave lives in actions, not words. You don't need to be famous to leave a legacy. You don't need wealth or power. Legacy is what you give while you're alive. The kindness you show. The wisdom you share. The example you set. The centenarians of Okinawa aren't worried about being remembered. They're focused on being present. On contributing today. On living their Ikigai fully. But here's what happens. When you live with purpose, people remember you. Not because you tried to be memorable. Because you mattered. Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you pass forward. A grandmother teaches her granddaughter how to weave. Not just the technique, but the patience. The presence. The pride in craft. Years later, the granddaughter teaches her daughter. The skill lives on. The values live on. That's legacy. You're building legacy right now. In every choice, every conversation, every small act of care. Ask yourself, what do I want to pass forward? What values do I want to embody? What do I want people to feel when they think of me? Then live that. Daily. Quietly. Fully. Your Ikigai is your legacy in action. Let's bring this all together. Section 18. Living with your whole heart. We've traveled far together. From a small island in Japan to the depths of what makes life worth living. And here's what it all comes down to. Living with your whole heart. Not perfectly. Not without struggle. But fully. Authentically. With purpose woven into the fabric of your days. Your Ikigai isn't a single moment of discovery. It's a lifetime of small choices. To stay curious. To move your body. To connect with others. To contribute. To accept. To grow. The people of Okinawa live long not because they have a magic secret. They live long because they've learned to live well. And living well means living with meaning. You have everything you need already. You don't need to move to an island. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to start noticing. What lights you up? What makes time disappear? What would you do even if nobody applauded? That's your thread. Pull it. Follow it. Trust it. Your Ikigai is calling you. Not with a loud voice. With a whisper. A gentle pull toward what matters. Toward who you're becoming. Toward the life that's waiting for you to claim it. Ending, your reason to wake up. So here we are. At the end of this journey, and the beginning of yours. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, you'll have a choice. You can go through the motions. Or you can live with purpose. You can let life happen to you. Or you can happen to life. The centenarians of Okinawa didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't wait to feel ready. They simply started. One small action at a time. One day lived fully after another. And you can too. Find your reason to wake up. Nurture it. Protect it. Live it. Not someday. Today. Because today is all you ever have. Your Ikigai is not out there. It's in here. In your choices. In your presence. In your heart. Live long. Live well. Live with your whole heart. And wake up tomorrow with a reason that makes you smile.